On today's election show special,
Warriors, Clippers, or Spurs, we hit the polls to see who you, America, thinks is the best team in the West.
CNN's John King joins us to discuss what's going on in Washington and the most electable NBA player.
And we debate which team is must-watch League Pass material.
It's Tuesday, November 8th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to the Starters Election Day special. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have all of you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
I voted for who? Nobody knows it but me.
To his right...
I didn't vote, I'm Canadian.
He's Canadian, yeah. To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lele.
And last, certainly not least, over there, it's Trabraham Lincoln.
Hey-yo!
Hey-yo! TK, what's up?
Guys, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters, and it's election day, so let's talk presidents. No, not actual presidents like me, Abraham Lincoln, but NBA presidents. We're introducing a new hashtag NBA presidents, and we're looking for your favorites on Twitter. Like maybe the original, Paul George Washington. Or maybe your favorite is my favorite, Brad Millard Fillmore. Or perhaps you like George H.W. Bosch and his son, George W. Bosch. Or maybe you're just itching for the return of old LBJ. Whatever it is, we want to hear from you on Twitter. Who's your favorite NBA president? Send us your best answers and use those hashtags, and we'll check them out later.
All right.
Angry Uncle Bob over there.
Yeah, you good?
I don't know who you speak of.
Good stuff. All right, get your tweets in. Yes, this is our election day / night special here. We're actually going to talk to CNN's John King, and he's going to be working the magic wall.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to host our first ever town hall debate, but that's later. Right now, we got to check the polls. So back over to Honest Trey.
That's right, Skeets. There's nothing more important leading up to Election Day than the polls. So tonight we're going to check some of the hottest races from around the nation to see where the people stand on the most important issues of our time. And our first poll is sure to be a controversial one. Who's the best team in the Western Conference? As you can see here, the Golden State Warriors are polling at a strong 45%, followed by the Spurs, Clippers, and Thunder. But to make sense of all this, I'll turn things over to our panel of pundits. Guys, what's going on here? Tell me about these polls.
At this very second, I think the Clippers are the best team in the West. If they had to have a 3-game series or 5-game series between those teams, it's the Clip, and it's likely because they've been together the longest. The Warriors have new parts. The Spurs have a bunch of injuries. They're playing guys named Davis Bertans and Nicholas Lapratilova. Yeah, those are real names playing real minutes for the San Antonio Spurs. But the Clippers, we know these guys. They've been together forever. If there was a presidential connection, it's like they've had 4 terms in office. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So right now, they're the best. Will that change? Perhaps.
Yeah, how are people looking at this poll?
Yeah.
Is it right now who's the best team in the West, or who will be the best team?
The problem is they haven't played the Warriors yet either. And even though the
Took
Warriors...
care of the Spurs, though.
They did take very impressive...
Who took care of the Warriors? So
Yeah.
who's the best?
That's exactly right.
But
right.
still, I mean, the Warriors have only lost 2 games. I think sometimes we're overlooked that just how good they were last year. The bar was so high for the Warriors that people think, oh, things aren't going well for them this year. They're still playing fantastic ball. And of course, Steph Curry last night showed you what he can do. 46 points. Pretty easy 46 points it was for him as well. So they're still pretty impressive. The Clippers, there's just always something goes wrong late in the season or in the playoffs, and that's why it's hard to sort of get too invested in them. But they are looking great at this moment in time.
And they played the Spurs very well. They beat the Spurs. They have the confidence against that team, and they played the Warriors very well. It's easy to forget what happened last year, but they were up on them late, and they kind of blew it. But they played both teams really, really well. This could be the last year of the Clippers as we know it. They know that going into the season.
Yeah, you pointed out the Clippers' core probably helping them get off to this hot start. I absolutely agree. But some additions in Mo Spates and Raymond Felton has actually helped their bench, which was non-existent over the last couple of years. So that's a huge plus for them. They have the best defense in the league right now. You're right about, like, with all 4 of these teams, they've sort of beaten one of them and lost to the other. When you go down it, I won't bore you all with it. But I think right now, just right now, it is the Clippers. But man, we start talking about the playoffs, something always goes wrong with LA, and you're then sort of siding usually with your Warriors or your Spurs. But the polls have spoken. And let's continue to look at the next one.
Well, we're not just monitoring team polls here today. We're also taking a look at player polls, and I'm sure our experts will have something to say about the latest numbers regarding hot NBA players. So take a look at this poll. Who is your favorite player to watch catch fire? Steph Curry riding that 13 threes bump to a solid 47%. Can you guys tell me what's going on here?
I hate this poll. I hate the nominees in this poll because this is not best player poll. This is not what this is, right? This is who is the most enjoyable when they catch fire, like Steph Curry did last night, and he sets the NBA record for 13 threes. So again, this is not a knock against LeBron or James Harden, the two guys that I specifically point out in this poll. But I think there's other guys like Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving that are just more enjoyable when they catch fire. Doesn't mean they're better basketball players, but those guys to me should be on this poll, and that's why I think Steph makes sense in this context. Excuse me.
But yeah, do you agree with the winner of this one? Because I think it is Steph because he does things that we just haven't seen before in generations past in the NBA. Why I probably pick LeBron over James Harden is because LeBron makes everybody around him a little bit better with the passing, and we know Harden's good at passing. But Harden kind of controls the ball a little bit too much, a little bit too dominant, kind of dribbles out clocks a lot of the time. Steph is just a unique guy right now. Dame is in that same category.
Yeah, see, Dame, Kyrie, and Steph to me, and even maybe even crazy enough, a Clay who has struggled earlier this year. It's when those guys catch fire. I think Melo may be in the mix too. When it feels like they can't miss. LeBron, he dominates a game in all aspects.
It's different.
You're not texting each other going, "Oh my God, LeBron is dominating this game in terms of setting up guys and rebounding." You know, that's
this is the question. This is the question of how do you want it? You want your guy who smashes down the lane and pots 40, drops 15 assists. Then you're looking at LeBron, or do you want a guy you've never seen before in the NBA, and that's Steph.
The thing about Steph is you just want to see just how crazy it can get with those shots that he takes and he makes, because not many players in the league, in fact, he's probably the only one who can take some of those shots and make them without his coach tearing his hair out. You know, he can do the step over, the step back, the crossover, all those sorts of shots. You just want to see, can he get it from like just inside halfway and take a normal shot and make it? So, and of course, I mean, the 13 threes, the record last night, we're kind of surprised it took him this long to even get that record.
I know, this guy hit 13 threes in a game last night, and we've almost buried the lead a little bit. And I know it's an election special here, but it's like, honestly, we're like, yeah, it was just a matter of time until he beat the record that he was tied with Donyell Marshall and Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And he only took 17.
It's his record to own.
He only had 17 attempts last night. So,
I know.
I mean, 20 is not totally out of the range of possibility.
But something that you said on the Twitter show this morning, Tass, was about Damian Lillard is starting to become that Steph Curry-like in terms of the range where he's shooting the basketball from.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of games, if you've watched Blazers games, he is very comfortably pulling up in stride from 30 feet. And the Steph Curry range, where we only felt like he was the only guy, he's got that in his arsenal now.
Yep.
And then you can add that he's maybe got, well, he has more explosive hops than a guy like Curry.
This is one against the Grizzlies where he's starting to emulate him, and against the Mavs here.
The one thing you can say about Lillard, Steph, and Kyrie is the hot hand definitely exists with those guys. It does.
Science says it doesn't.
No, that's wrong.
Math
Science
says
is
it
wrong.
doesn't.
You can see
I know.
these guys when they get hot, they just feel it, and they want the ball in their hands.
All right, so the people say Steph Curry. We tend to agree, but I think the poll was flawed. Who made the poll? Did we make the poll?
I think so.
We made the poll. The poll sucked. All right, final one here.
You can't trust those pollsters. But our final poll is perhaps the most important of all. Which current NBA player would make the best president, and perhaps surprisingly, a king? LeBron James is currently leading the pack, polling at 38%. Guys, tell me something about these polls.
It's LeBron James. He knows how to pick and choose the best people from different industries, different facets. He knows we're stronger together. I think LeBron James is a smart man in this way. He's got a bunch of friends, but these friends aren't useless. These friends have a particular role that make him better, because he knows that he can't do everything himself.
So he's building
he
a
makes
great
the best
cabinet.
president. Yeah, he's a great cabinet, great life. I like being a politician because you can use your hands a lot when you talk.
I'm Swaggy P.
Yeah, come on, let's get him in.
20% have this one right. Swaggy P for president. He's got the self-confidence, what you need in a president. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, John King of CNN joins us from the nation's capital to get us all set for fan/election night. Back with the Starters Election Special tonight on the network. NBA TV Fan Night, Hawks, and Cavs, Pelicans, Kings. So while NBA fans get set for that action, Americans getting set for a long election night. And to help us make sense of it all, joining us live from CNN headquarters in Washington, it's John King. John, thanks for joining the Starters.
Glad to be here, guys. Election night in America, fan night in America. It's a great combination. How you doing?
It's the perfect combination. Let's start with that first game on NBA TV. What can you tell us about the fan night battlegrounds of Georgia and Ohio. I'm Canadian, but people are telling me these are very important states tonight.
These are two of the biggest battlegrounds tonight we'll be watching. You got the Hawks leaving to come up to Cleveland. Let's start in Cleveland. Ohio is always one of the biggest battleground states in America, and where the Q is, right here in Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, this is critical turnout. African-American turnout in Cleveland determines whether or not the Democrats win Ohio. So, as you know, this guy got involved and his friend there. They're going to be on the court tonight. LeBron and JR. JR's daughter looks a little scared to be up there. You see Secretary Clinton. I assume they both have their I voted stickers on their uniforms when they vote tonight. Now, this is a very big deal. Ohio's a huge deal. We'll be watching it all night. Donald Trump hopes to win in Ohio. And then Georgia's interesting this year because normally you see Georgia, it's colored red on our map. It always is. It's a Republican state, except this year the Democrats think they have a chance to at least get it close, maybe surprise us and win it. So we'll be watching, and the region we'll be watching is right there in Atlanta. Big African-American turnout in Atlanta might put the Democrats in play. I think this one will probably stay red. You see the margins 4 years ago, but we'll keep an eye on it. Why not? And I just want to show you guys something. The Magic has magic. See?
Whoa!
You guys, if I keep you in here at the end of the night, if it's not going well, one of you could be president.
Yeah,
All right.
I was just going to say no one will be voting for those four guys tonight. That's one thing we know.
We've got to get some write-ins tonight, I think.
Maybe some starters write-ins. We can hope. Look, Barack Obama, we all know President Barack Obama, one of the biggest NBA fans we maybe ever had in the White House. Who do you think is more likely to continue sort of the basketball legacy? Is it Trump or is it Clinton?
We know she's a baseball fan. I haven't heard her talk basketball much, but if she could win Ohio, I bet LeBron could be Secretary of State if he wanted to be after that. Let's remember, you mentioned the president. This is an election day tradition for President Obama. He goes out and he shoots hoops, and he did that today. He's done that in every one of his elections, so he is a big basketball fan. Maybe she can create a new cabinet position, Secretary of Basketball, and he can stay around a little bit. But remember, this is not an NBA guy, but don't throw any chairs in the studio tonight. We should remember Bobby Knight is with Donald Trump,
right.
So there's been a lot of basketball in this campaign. Who would be more of a basketball guy? I think Trump's more of a sports guy. But again, if she can win Ohio tonight, I think if basketball wants its own special privileges in the government, LeBron can get what LeBron wants.
As long as the new president doesn't call it a basketball ring, then we're okay.
Ring, yeah, that's right.
We
do hoops here.
We had some fun with one of the polls today on our Twitter show asking which current NBA player do we think would be the most electable as president. Let's throw it at the expert, John King himself. Who do you think, the current NBA players, who would have your vote for NBA president?
Here's my theory. I think this secret stealth campaign is already underway. Kevin Durant, right?
Okay.
Born here in the Washington, D.C. area, born out in Maryland, has some D.C. experience. He can tell people, I know how the government works. Then where did he go? He went down to Oklahoma, right? A red state. You got to win the red states. He pulls up some Republican support here. And now where is he? Out in the biggest blue of all, out in the Bay Area, California, the biggest basket of electoral votes. This guy's not moving around to play hoops. He's mounting a secret stealth presidential campaign. No doubt about it. KD.
I love that pick. A couple more here for you, John. I hate to do this to you, but you, like Wolf Blitzer, your colleague, big Wizards fans. What's going on with the Washington Wizards? 1-5 right now. Are you worried?
Yes. Look, Wolf introduces the game every night up on the big board. Wolf introduces the game to the opponent. Wolf's more of a Wizards fan than I am. I've been a season ticket holder now for 25 years for the Washington Wizards. I'm by DNA. I'm a Celtics fan. I grew up in Boston. So the Celtics are here tomorrow night, for example. That's my Switzerland night, although I don't tell anybody. I know this won't be on television. I secretly root for the Celtics. But Wolf's a huge Wizards fan. I'm a big Wizards fan and a big basketball fan. They look pretty bleak right now. They got a lot of new players, so let's hope and see if they figure it out. For your game tonight, they played the Hawks the other night. That's the only Wizards win, came against the Hawks the other night. And I was watching. The Hawks are having a hard time incorporating Dwight Howard instead of Al Horford. But I did see something that very few basketball fans have ever seen the other night. Dwight Howard made 2 consecutive free throws. I was right there in the arena. I saw it. It happened.
You're obviously a big basketball fan. Do you do your fantasy basketball rosters on that magic wall there? Is that possible or no?
If I told you what this thing is capable of, I'd probably have to take you guys out back. And you know what? We can do magic on this. Trust me. We can shrink the country.
Oh wow!
We can grow the country. We can do a lot of funny things. We can even, if you want, you can go to the map and we can bring in an area. We can bring it out. Get rid of this guy. You can come in the map. See, we can zoom in on the satellite feed.
Whoa!
Wait till it clicks in here. See? This gets pretty dangerous. We can do a lot of secret things. I can follow you guys around at night. Actually, sometimes I do that when I'm bored.
Oh, a little creepy, John. John, we can't thank you enough. I know you have a long night, election night headed, so you can maybe get some rest here. Maybe you can nap real quickly before it really gets started in an hour or so.
After the game, come on and help us count the votes.
Excellent. John King from Washington, D.C. We got to take a break. Lots more still to come when we come back. The Starters' first ever and maybe last ever town hall debate. Come on back.
Welcome back to the Starters and welcome to Studio V in Atlanta for our very first Town Hall debate. Tonight we're going to help some undecided voters make some life-changing basketball decisions. Mr. Mellis, you won a pre-show dance contest, so you'll have the first answer tonight, and the questions are coming from the voters themselves. Our first comes from Kyla, who has a question about watching basketball. Kyla, come on up here and ask your question. The floor is yours.
I'm a production assistant in Georgia's thriving film and television industry. I like my NBA games like I like my movies. Big, entertaining, and fast-paced. Which must-watch League Pass team would best meet my needs?
Kyla, I'm glad you asked that question. First, can I ask you something? Are you a fan of drama?
Of course.
Are you a fan of young men trying to make it in a sport where big men rule?
I am.
Are you a fan of the concept of limitless potential?
Yes.
Then you should be watching the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know how good they're going to be. No one else knows out there how good it's going to be. That's why the drama is so intriguing with this team. Karl Anthony Towns could be one of the best bigs ever. Zach LaVine is known as a dunker, but he's a beautiful, beautiful basketball player. Andrew Wiggins has a very high ceiling. At the same time, this team is full of drama. They cannot win a third quarter. They are getting plowed by an average of 15 points in their losses in the third quarter. That's why it's so dramatic. They get up high, then they fall down low. This is must-watch material. You being in the TV business should know this is great stuff.
Do you like wins?
Of course I like wins.
Well, then
Who
don't
doesn't?
watch the Wolves. You're not going to get a lot of wins. You said you worked in television production.
Yes, I do.
I assume you work long hours. Am I right?
Very long hours.
Tired at night,
A little bit,
a little
yeah.
sleepy. So if you're going to watch League Pass at night, you need an exciting team. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
I'm not wrong, am I? I'm not wrong, and that's why there is
Stand up to him.
an undeniable energy with the Los Angeles Lakers right now. You need to have the Lakers as your must-watch League Pass team. You got 5 guys in the rotation, 5 of their 9 rotation players under the age of 24, and they play with that youthful energy. D'Angelo, Julius, number 2 pick Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr., Jordan Clarkson, all of these guys, they're entertaining. They go up and down. They don't play defense. They don't worry about defense. Defense is boring. Offense keeps you up at night when you've worked 12, 13, 14 hours producing a crap show like this. Okay? So you need a fun watch, and that is the Lakers. I think it's absolutely the Lakers.
All right. Thank you very much. That's all the time we have, Mr. Ellis. You'll have your chance later, I'm sure. Our next question comes from Zach, who wants to know about bad basketball teams. Zach.
Hi, I'm a student who loves nothing more than to settle down and watch the NBA after a long day at the library. I've seen some great ball so far this year, but not every team has met expectations. Who do you think is the most disappointing team in the NBA?
That one is quite an easy one. It's the Indiana Pacers. Their season has just kind of fallen apart already. We're only 7 games in.
They're 3-4.
And the defensive end is what we know the Indiana Pacers for, and they are not defending anybody, either inside or on the outside. There's already a little bit of drama in their locker room as well. They've got a new coach who's supposedly an excellent defensive coach. Well, I don't know where that coach is right now. The Pacers have conceded over 100 points in every game except for one. That is very un-Pacer-like. They are missing George Hill badly. This team has been very disappointing out of the gate. Could have been perhaps second best team in the Eastern Conference.
Wrong. It's the New Orleans Pelicans.
What a nasty man.
Wrong. The New Orleans Pelicans are so disappointing. They've got a guy averaging 30 points and 12 rebounds. And already at 0-7, people are just writing off their season. Anthony Davis is an all-world NBA player. And it's very sad that this great city that someone can go and eat a great meal at Cochon at can't support a basketball team. It's very frustrating that this guy may be losing a couple of his prime years.
Right. I think it's the Knicks. I was one of the suckers earlier in the year. At the start of the season, I said the Knicks are going to make the playoffs. And they've already fooled me. They're 2-4, Zach, and they're the worst defense in the league. Defense is boring at night, but it's important when it comes to winning basketball games.
It's important during the
Said
day,
like
I
a
guess.
politician, right? Said like a true politician. And they're the worst in the league. And now you've got Phil Jackson coming out today with reports of, well, we're going to give the defense to Kurt Rambis. And there's all this talk about the offense, and now we got to start running the triangle. We're not doing that enough. But who cares about the offense? Because your offense is average. That's not what's killing them. Their defense is brutal. And yeah, they've had a tough schedule. They haven't had any of those sort of easy team wins. I think some wins will come, but
okay. That's all the time we have. Okay,
Zach,
that's all the time we have.
Thanks for your question,
Moving
Zach.
on, our final question comes from Nicole, who has a question about taxes. Nicole?
I'm a hardworking mother of two who, despite a full-time job, sometimes struggles to make ends meet. What will you do to lower taxes for the middle class while making sure those in the top 1% of earners pay their fair share?
Okay, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much to our candidates. Thank you to the voters and for your questions. Thank you to Studio V in Atlanta. And please join us after the break for our final segment when an Australian elects a very solid play.
How'd you afford that scarf, Nicole?
welcome back to the starters. We asked you, who is your favorite hashtag NBA president? People have spoken on Twitter. We go over to Trey Abraham Lincoln. Trey.
Yeah, some great answers. This one comes from Funky Buckets, who says William Henry Harrison Barnes, of course. I also like Mark Wilson, who said Brent Barry S. Truman. And finally, Eli Hammer says Stan Van Buren. Nobody ever talks about Martin Van Buren.
I wonder why.
There may be a reason for that.
Yeah, all right. Good
Where's
stuff.
that guy?
Keep those tweets coming. Let's take a quick look at tonight's picks in the Pick'em Payoff. Hey, I won a game last night.
You made up a game.
That was exciting.
And you can do it again tonight.
I can, yeah. The game is Wolves and Nets. The three of you guys are going to the Timberwolves. I'm going with the Nets. Come
luck.
on, Brooklyn. Lee, where are we going for very solid play?
We're going to Charlotte, which is just up the road here from Atlanta, and I'm pleased to announce we have our very first double-ender of the season, gentlemen.
Yes!
This is
Exciting.
Kemba Walker gets the steal, and watch down the other end, the ball fizzes around. You know, maybe not quite the first one wasn't a fizz, but here it goes back to Kemba for a three ball. That's a beautiful play. Here it is again. No, it's not. It's what I call a very solid play.
Look at that stash.
Looking
Look
good.
at that stash. It's coming in real nice on day 8 here.
That's a double-ender.
On Stash Watch 2016. Guys, we had a blast with our Twitter show this morning. Here's a clip of us talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello make up the team with one other fellow, Raphael.
Keep going,
The crime
keep
wave
going.
is high, with muggings mysterious. All police and detectives are curious. Let's see if they can find the something of this something. Yeah. Anyway.
And this coming from Alfonso Lopez on Instagram, mashing us together with the TMNT there.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on this election special. We will see you tomorrow. And remember, waiting is the hardest part.
Brace your president, people.